Sanjay Kumar, Secretary, School Education is with us. Sir, the penultimate meeting, the fourth meeting and the ministerial meeting of the G20 Education Working Group would be held in Pune. What would be the layout of the meeting, and the ministerial would be also held? So what's the shape of that?
The shape is that the fourth education working group is slated to begin on the 19th, 20th, 21st. And on 22nd, we have a G20 ministerial meet. So education ministers from all these countries will come and they would deliberate on the draft communique, which would be finalized by the G20 four meetings we've had till date. But as a precursor to that, on the 17th and 18th, the school education department has organized a national level of conference for all the education secretaries and all the state program directors who look after Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. Now basically we are going to discuss on foundational literacy and numeracy, how the concept of multilingualism is there. We will do discussions on that also, and states will present their best case practices as to what they are doing, and also we are getting experts to speak to them. So there will be an exchange of ideas. On the 18th, it is a very important topic, is that ultimately any pedagogy is through the teachers. And the teacher needs to be empowered, and teachers needs to be continuously empowered, I would say. So he gets to know as to what is happening, because pedagogy is also changing. So we'll be discussing as to how to build the capacity of teachers and empower them and make them better teachers, so we get better learning outcomes.
So you mentioned about changing times. We also have to talk about the blended learning that is also playing an important part in the deliberations. COVID lockdown was something that really taught us to strengthen our infrastructure digitally. What's the sense that you are getting from the developed or developing nations about the infrastructure that India has created, and what are the best practices that we are putting forth?
You know, one of the outcomes and the learning of interacting with so many countries is that our basic needs are the same. And more or less, we are all trying to do it in the similar manner. And there seems to be a consensus that blended learning is there to stay. And every country is doing it in its own way. We are also doing it in our own way. But we have created some very robust platforms, digital platforms, and Diksha is one of them. And Diksha is like a fine digital public good, like a UPI. So we are showcasing Diksha to other countries also. And if that digital framework can be used by them, we'll be very happy to do that.
So lastly, the four topics that we are discussing on, what's the consensus on that? And lastly, since this is the ministerial meeting, how many ministers are we expecting? And it will obviously be a closed door one. So can you give us some highlights of the communique that would be drafted?
No, the communique is actually on those four topics. Okay. The four topics are tech-enabled learning, research amongst the G20 countries, what is going to be the future of work, skilling, and foundational literacy, numeracy, especially in the context of blended learning. So the draft communique revolves around it. And as of now, I'm told that about 14 ministers have given their consent to be here. That number might change, might increase. And one more thing I would want to say, because through you, is that on the eve of this fourth education working group, we started a reach out to public campaign from 1st to 15th of June. And all across the country, we requested the states, all the schools, all the boards to organize workshops on foundational literacy and numeracy, so everyone gets to know of this very important component of the national education policy. And I'm very happy to say that in the last 15 days, we have managed to reach out to more than 4 crore 10 lakh teachers, students, and parents.
All right. Thank you very much for talking to us. So that was Sanjay Kumar talking all about the various events that will take place to the run up to the ministerial meeting of the last, and the ministerial meeting, as I said, of the education working group. With camera person Rohan Gowli, this is Shyama Mishra for ED India, Pune, Maharashtra.